What's going on, everybody? Let's get back with a brand new spanking video. It's funny, I say that every time, and then like some of these videos, it's gonna be like months or a year later, and people are gonna watch it and be like, "Brand spanking new video," in the tag, and they're gonna scroll down. It'll say like released in 2022, and they'll be watching it in like 2024 or something, and they'll be like, "This isn't brand new, man. You made this like 2 years ago." I don't know why that thought just like popped into my head for whatever reason, but I really want to talk about some manga. You're going to see pretty much all of this in my upcoming haul video, which is going to collect the stuff that I picked up when I was in Orlando and this stuff right here. So it's going to be a massive haul, but it's kind of like a haul between 2 months. It's my July and August haul, and I'm actually right now still waiting on some August stuff that's going to be arriving today. And then that'll probably be it. And I'm going to end up recording that video sometime next week. It's hard to, speculate the timeline, because I just record a bunch of stuff and then I kind of decide what I'm going to drop, here or there. But to kind of give you an idea of when I'm recording this video that you're watching right now, I'm recording this yesterday. I just dropped my Which Is Why You Should Read video. And by the time that this video that you're watching comes out, it's probably going to be like 2-3 weeks from the record date, because like I want to have like a bunch of stuff just ready to go so that I can drop something if I, for whatever reason, I can't record a video at some point in time. I'll have content to just be able to release videos and to just kind of like keep up the weekly schedule. I definitely want to do that, even though like I may not always have the ability to record a video a week. At least be able to have stuff constantly coming out. But for the most part, I've been pretty much on the ball. I got really lucky at one point, when I went to Orlando. I got lucky, and I talked about that in my other video, that I was able to record a Chainsaw Man reaction, so that helped me out, because otherwise I wasn't going to have anything to release that weekend. What we're doing today is I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff that I picked up, and I hope that you will check these out if you haven't read them already. I know a bunch of you have like commented on some of the stuff, and you said you're reading it or have read it or plan to read it or something. So I want to say a few things about each one of these series. So let's get right into it. I don't want to waste any more time. We're already at like the 3-minute mark. So yeah, let's do this. I hope that you enjoy this. This is a new thing that I want to do on this channel called Hey, Have You Read? And it's going to be different from like my currently reading videos and like the Why You Should Reads and Let's Talk About, and that this is just going to be kind of like recommendations and not really, and not like a set single volume or something. This is just going to be like a group thing. Otherwise, I will end up having way too many videos that are going to take way too long to release, and this is great to just be able to put out a bunch of stuff in one video and say that I enjoyed these things, and I hope that you do as well. So let's get into it. So this is Hey, Have You Read? So let's fan them out. This is going to be the first video of this series. So right off the bat, this is a book that I picked up when I was in Orlando. This is called Blue Lock. And I want to say really quick about when I was in Orlando, the haul video that I did. I almost didn't drop that haul video because I wasn't super happy with the way that it was coming out. Like, I hit up the Barnes & Noble the first time, and like I really wanted to record for the video, and I couldn't get the footage that I wanted because there was like people coming in and out of the aisles, and it kind of screwed up my ability to film, and I didn't want anybody to think that I was filming them, or like I felt weird like the staff was going to come up to me and be like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? Why are you filming?" So like that kind of made me weird as well, and I ended up not filming the first time, and then the second time around I did finally get to film, but I only filmed a little bit because people kept coming into the aisles as well, and it just kind of screwed me up. So it's like I gotta find like a time of day when I can go into a Barnes & Noble and like maybe there won't be anyone there. Like if I do it like as soon as they open or something, just like show up and go in there and try to film. And I mean, I ended up being able to make the video, but like I just wasn't really happy with it, and then people were complaining that I was too far away from the shelves and whatnot. I've never done it before. I've never recorded in a Barnes & Noble. I've never really recorded videos like that, so I do apologize if it wasn't that great of a video, and like to be honest, I almost didn't even release it at all because I wasn't that happy with it either. I didn't think it was that great, and it kind of bummed me out. I watched it back like 12 times, like, am I going to release this video? Like, I kept sitting on it, and finally I just said, whatever, I'll drop it, and it's had a pretty solid reception overall, so I'm grateful for that, and I'm glad that people have been enjoying it, because like I said, I almost pulled the plug on it before that ever saw the light of day. And one of the things that came out of my trip to Orlando was Blue Lock. And the reason that I picked this up at all is that it's by Muneyuki Kaneshiro, who is one of my favorite mangakas ever. He's actually just the writer of the series. He didn't draw it. It was drawn by a different artist named Yusuke Nomura, and he also did one of my favorite manga series is called Jagan. So I have Jagan right here. This is the Spanish version of it. This is by Norma Editorial, and there's two Spanish versions of Jagan. There's this Spanish one right here. This is the Spain Spanish one, and then there is a Mexican Spanish one, which is made by Panini, and yeah, that one's obviously based out of Mexico, the Panini one. But I got the Norma Editorials one because you can get these from Amazon. And since I do speak fluent Spanish and I read Spanish, I suck at spelling Spanish. I can't spell Spanish to save my life, but I can fluently speak Spanish. I pretty much grew up around it. And yeah, I've read a bunch of this, and I love this series. I have volumes 1 through 10, I think. And there's like 4 more volumes to go, and then that'll complete all of Jagan. It was like 14 volumes, I think, altogether. But I like that this is kind of like a departure from Jagan. You know, it's the same creator, and there's definitely little things, you know, that kind of tie into the Jagan thing, where like Jagasaki in Jagan is kind of an asshole, you know, and he's like full of himself, and he thinks that like he's just destined for more than what he has, and he feels like he's being tied down by his girlfriend and by the things in his life, and he feels like he could have had more, like he should have had more, like he's just gonna die, this decrepit old man, you know, and like just surrounded by his family, and his life will have meant nothing. And that's kind of like what this dude's story arc is in Blue Lock as well, you know, where like he has to become one of the best. He has to leave a legacy. He has to do something, and he becomes a part of this tournament, or not really a tournament, but he becomes a part of like this death game type of thing. Only it's not, as far as I've read so far, nobody's actually fucking died. Please don't tell me if they do. Please don't tell me, man. Like I don't want to know. I'm gonna order volume 2 at some point. But yeah, they end up in like this thing right here. Okay, these are all like dorms or whatever, where a bunch of dudes are in there. Like, I think like 21 dudes per dorm or something like that. I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I know like a team is supposed to be like 11 guys all together, so at some point they might dwindle down to like 11 dudes, and so that it could be like an even, you know, football team. And yeah, it's pretty good. Like, I'm not a huge football fan. I grew up around it because I'm Mexican. So like I've pretty much been around it my whole life, you know what I mean? Like my dad watches it, my brother watches it, and it's always been like a thing where, you know, whenever the Copa Mundial, whatever, you know, comes around, they watch that shit. And you know, it's just one of those things where like it's ingrained in my culture, and I've always been around it. And I've never really been a huge fan of it personally, but I don't have anything against it. And this is actually goes beyond just being about soccer. So if you wanted to avoid reading this because you're not a soccer fan, or you know, you don't like football, if that puts you off wanting to check it out, please do check it out, because it isn't necessarily about that. It's just about these dudes who are like edgelords. Well, they're not like really edgelords. They're like really egocentric, like ego driven dudes that want to be number one, that want to get the top billing, that want to get the top spot. And it kind of it goes beyond, you know, being about soccer and more about like human nature. Though there are like random like soccer, football, you know, references throughout. But otherwise, as a dude that really isn't into soccer, I enjoyed it a lot. So if I can enjoy it, I think you can as well. And I like the artwork. I like the artwork quite a bit. I think the artwork is really solid. The way that everything is drawn, the paneling, it's really fluid. I think it's one of my favorite things about it is how fluid the paneling is. I think it's like really fluid panel work, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. So please check out Blue Lock. Next up, we got Smokin Parade. So for whatever reason, I keep wanting to call this series Smokin Aces. It's just like what it makes me think of the name Smokin. It makes me think of Smokin Aces, which is a really good film. It's like over the top as hell, testosterone driven, you know, just really chaotic and whatnot. And this kind of reminds me of that in a way, only it's not really anything like it. It's way more different than that. I don't know how to describe the series to people. Like it's from the same creators of Dead Man Wonderland. So I mean, if you like Dead Man Wonderland, I think you will enjoy Smokin Parade. It's really graphic, really brutal and violent, but it's really well drawn at the same time. And like it does have like the shonen trappings kind of, Where this dude right here is our lead character, and he does do like the shonen thing where he wants to protect his little sister, and he's got a bunch of rules about how he goes about business, and he calls them like family rules, and every one of them, he's got like 100 or something family rules, for how things should be done, and for the way that you should conduct yourself. So I think that's kind of cool, at least, that he's got morals, he's got standards and whatnot. I don't want to say too much about what necessarily happens in the story, but I will say that it takes a left turn extremely fast, and it takes a left turn that I did not expect it to take. But I mean, other than that, like, the characters are really well drawn, and this dude right here is the leader of a gang who ends up taking this dude in after a pretty brutal tragedy befalls him. And he kind of comes to realize that this whole group is made up of people that have lost something, and they're all trying to move on and trying to essentially get back at the ones that are responsible for what they lost and for what other people around the world are also losing. And he that's something that he can jive with, given that he's currently in the same position that these people had also been in. Like, it's so fluid, so much attention to detail, and like just little minor details throughout the series, throughout this first volume. This is the only one I've read so far, but I just love it. I love how well drawn it is. This is a combo, like, this is a pair that work really well together, between the writing and the drawings and whatnot. I think that these are two mangaka that have, an artist and a mangaka that have set a staple, with Dead Man Wonderland, and they're following it up with Smokin Parade. Even though I think this series is complete now, I think the whole thing is out. I think it's like 10 volumes. The whole thing is out. You can get it right now. I have volumes 1 through 4. I'm going to be ordering the rest of it pretty soon. Probably not going to see it in my July August haul, but it'll probably be in my September October haul. So yeah, pretty much, really good story. Kind of like a black market thing where people's organs are harvested and they're killed and whatnot. And then there's like this pharmaceutical company that's also involved, and they have like appendages, like arms, legs, or whatever, that like implants that you could get grafted onto you. And some people, it's kind of like psychopaths, where like if you go too high, like your emotions get too high, like you become a fucking psychopath, and then you have to be put down. It's kind of like that, where like, or even Jagan, which I showed previously, where like you get infected by the fractured frogs and you become this fucking monster. It's kind of like that in a sense, where like if people don't really adapt well to the prosthetics that they receive, they become like legit monsters. They become like raging monsters, and then this dude over here and his crew go and annihilate them. So yeah, it's a really good series. I've only read the first volume so far, but I'm excited to read the rest of it. I think it's gonna hopefully it keeps up the pace that it's at, because right now it's moving pretty much like at a breakneck pace. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. All right, next up, we got a series that's actually been becoming pretty popular, I think. The only thing is it's on High Dive, so I haven't been able to watch the series, and it kind of bums me out. It's kind of like the deal with Summertime Rendering, where it's pretty much like in Disney jail, and I've been watching it in Japanese with no English subtitles because I'm a psychopath. And like, I understand like a tiny little bit of Japanese. I studied Japanese like really long time ago, many years ago, when I was like in my early 20s. So like I can catch words here or there, but it's not, my Japanese really isn't that good. And so it's hard for me to like understand everything. But I'm like really impatient, and I don't want to wait for Netflix to decide to dub it or to, put subs to it. And you can only really watch it in certain countries or territories or whatever with like a VPN if you're like me and you're in the US or something. But it just does bug me, because like I really want to watch the show. Like I've read the first 2 volumes. I'm in the middle of volume 3 now, and I just love the series so damn much. So like I watched the first episode and a half completely in Japanese. But I did, since I've read the manga, I was able to kind of essentially follow along, and like I said, I pick up words here or there from when I did study Japanese. It's kind of like the deal with Call of the Night. It's not Netflix jail or like Disney jail or anything, but it is on High Dive, and I don't have High Dive. I don't feel like paying for High Dive just to watch the show. I'm really just burned out on anime as it is. Like I really don't I really don't watch that much anime anymore, and I just don't really care. I'm almost like I'm almost contemplating just canceling my Crunchyroll sub, just because like I really don't care about watching most of anything. I did enjoy Kaguya-sama, and I will watch the last season of Kaguya-sama, and I thought it was pretty solid. But this is a series I would definitely watch the anime for, because I enjoyed this first volume quite a bit. So I relate to this series, like, as a dude who gets like no sleep. I sleep like 4 hours a night, sometimes 5 hours a night. I like literally last night I went to bed at like midnight and woke up at 5 in the morning, and I've been wide awake since 5 in the morning. It's like noon now. It's brutal, dude. Like, I run on so little sleep. It sucks. And it's kind of like I've always kind of been that way, where like other people could sleep in and whatnot and sleep like 10 plus hours, and I sleep like 5 hours, and that's like it. I'm pretty much ready to go for the rest of the day. And this dude apparently, like, this dude really just doesn't sleep at all. Him right there. He doesn't sleep like at all. And she's a vampire. She's a vampire, so she don't sleep at all. She doesn't sleep during the night. She sleeps during the day because she's a vampire. And I love this series, dude. I love this first volume. I've only read the first volume so far. I have volume 2 right here, so I'm going to be starting this soon. I have like a bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read a bunch of other stuff for like videos and whatnot, so I've been putting it off. But I do really enjoy the series. I'm sure most of you already know it, or have read it, or have heard of it. So for those of you that haven't read it yet, but are contemplating reading it, you're probably not going to be able to get it on Right Stuff or Amazon, because they are completely sold out. But if you hit up like a Barnes & Noble or like a Books A Million or something, I'm sure you could get your hands on a copy of it. And I know like volumes 4 and 5 are also at the moment sold out, because those are the 2 volumes that I need for my own collection. I have everything else. I was lucky enough to get, volumes 1 and 2 while at Barnes & Noble. I had no idea they were completely sold out on Amazon. So later on, when I went on Amazon to try to collect the rest of the series, I saw that they were sold out. And yeah, like, so this is a series where like this dude is an insomniac. He can't sleep. She's a vampire. They like become friends. He wants her to turn him into a vampire. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. For me to turn you into a vampire, we'd have to be in love, or I'd have to be in love with you. And I'm not in love with you. And he's like, well, can I make you fall in love with me? So that's kind of like what this is. Like, he wants to become a vampire, so he's trying to convince her to fall in love with him. And it's really funny, dude. It's really irreverent. And just there's so many good aspects of it, and I love the artwork. I think the artwork is incredible, and like I can't wait to see where it's gonna go. And it looks like it's going on for a while, given that like I think volume 9 is almost out. It's out through 8 right now. Volume 9 is coming out, and then I think I also pre-ordered like volume 10. But yeah, I love the night aesthetic of it, that it pretty much for the most part takes place during the night, and this dude is so detached from everything, where like he just has no interest in doing jack shit with other people. And I relate to that so much, where I used to want to be open. I used to want to like just congregate with a lot of people, and now that I've gotten older, I just really don't care anymore. Like, I just want to be left alone. I just kind of want to mind my own business. So like I like doing my YouTube videos and just kind of like chilling. I read manga and whatnot. That's kind of where I'm at now. Whereas to like when I was a teenager and whatnot, I was a completely different person than who I am now. I was never really home. I was always out all night. I was always doing stupid shit that I shouldn't have been doing. But now, as an adult, now that I'm like my 30s, like I've chilled out a bunch, and like I just like to just hang out and, like I said, do these videos and just kind of mind my own business and just do my own thing. And that's kind of like what I like about this, where this dude has that, where like he just goes on walks by himself, and he kind of likes his own company and doesn't really need to be surrounded by a lot of people. And that's just something that like I really connected with. And she's kind of in the same boat as him, where she just pretty much is like really chill, and she just likes messing with him. And I've always, enjoyed the company of people that I feel like, want to engage in, a conversation that's worth having, and, even be able to just kind of enjoy one another's presence and silence, and, not have to fill every waking moment with pointless talk, just for the sake of, not falling into an awkward kind of silence. And I feel like this story really does a great job of playing into being okay with being alone and being okay with being solemn, and not everything has to be bright and chipper. And that really resonated with me. And I love the artwork. Like I said, this is a really good story. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. If you have insomnia, I think that you will also relate to this, especially if you have insomnia and you've walked around at night, which I have done, just kind of like randomly like walked off in the middle of the night, and it's like such a different world. Like I used to work at night as well, so you'd get out and like there weren't any cars on the highway, and like there really weren't any people, and go into like Walmart at 3 a.m. to go grocery shopping, and there was like nobody in there. And it's just like such a different world, like being alive at night, being active at night when everybody's asleep. It's just such a different world. And I love that this, is able to, encapsulate that. So I definitely highly recommend checking out Call of the Night if you haven't already. Slasher Maidens. This is by one of the dudes that worked on Akame ga Kill. So previously I had said that this dude wrote Akame ga Kill, but he did not. He actually drew Akame ga Kill. This is Tetsuya Tashiro. And he drew Akame ga Kill but didn't write it. And yeah, this is his series that he's done by himself without another person, as far as I know. I think he did have some help though. I think one of his homies, one of his friends, drew this right here, drew the cover, which is really cool. Yeah, one of his friends, as far as I know, drew the cover, and I like the cover a lot. And that's actually kind of what sold me on the series. I saw this cover and I was just like, that looks really rad. And then I found out it was by one of the dudes that did Akame ga Kill. So I was just like, I'm on board. I'll check it out. And I got it when I was in Orlando, along with Call of the Night, which I also got when I was in Orlando, and then the other one as well, Blue Lock. I also got that in Orlando, and yeah, I enjoyed this volume quite a bit. The lead is a dude, as is pretty much the case in like all of these stories. It's always like some fucking down on his luck loser. Like I said in my Witches video, that I actually had a pretty good reception. Just like most of these stories are always about some dude who's down on his luck, or he's a fucking pervert, and he's new to a school. He's always new to a school. He's down on his luck, and he's a scumbag. And that's legit. That checks every single box, for Slasher Maidens. But I can't front like I didn't enjoy this series quite a bit, because I really did, and it's like really big. I got volume 2 on the shelf, so I'm gonna be jumping into that at some point. I was gonna do a Let's Talk about this, and I was actually gonna do a Let's Talk about some of the other volumes in this video that I'm doing. And I figured, it's gonna end up just being way too many videos, and by the time I get around to them, it's gonna be like weeks from now. So I wanted to just condense everything into one video, and just knock out 5 volumes all at one time. And yeah, this is a really good story. Pretty much like there's these girls that, and this is another trope, with like the girls. It's always girls that. Or like kids, teenagers, or whatever, like they're the only ones that can do this thing. They're the only ones that can harness this power. If like adults try to harness the power or try to do the thing, they're instantly killed. And yeah, in this case, it's girls. These girls, I forgot what they're called. It's like mementos or something, like souvenirs or whatever from people that were serial killers in real life, not in real life, in our real life, but in their universe. It's like mementos or whatever from serial killers, like things left behind by serial killers after they were executed or whatever. And these girls, like she's one of them, use these things to fight other monsters, and people legit become like monsters at some point. It's like Jagan and like Psychopaths and these things where like these people, I guess, just they hit a ceiling or whatever, and they turn into monsters. And they it's like, I forgot what it was called. It's like psycho something, what they turn into, like psycho killers or something is what they become. And they go on like bloody rampages and just kill like an insane amount of people. Like it's kind of nuts how many people are killed in like each attack in this yeah, like pretty much in the sections of this volume. Like at one point, a bunch of people are killed in a mall, and it's like 100 people or something that are murdered in a mall. And it's like, it's just really over the top. But yeah, pretty much like these young girls go in and fight these monsters. But given that they're using like mementos from, people from these psycho killers that were once people, there's like a part of the person, a part of the monster, within these things. Tokyo Ghoul is another one that just came to mind. Like Tokyo Ghoul, where like they kill the ghouls, and then like the hunters or whatever kill the ghouls, and then use like their body parts as weapons. It's kind of like that, only this isn't really their body parts. This is just like the tools that they used when they killed people, and the tools kind of like have like a mind of their own. So at any point in time, the tools could take over the girl that is using the tool and turn her into a raging lunatic. So now you're dealing with like a psycho killer and one of these girls that's now rampaging. So now you have two threats on your hands, and pretty much the dude who comes into play has to try to calm them down. So he goes into the battlefield and tries to calm the girls down by doing weird things to them. Yeah, he does like really weird pervy things to the girls to try to calm them down. So that's his part in it. So yeah, there's definitely like, so him being a pervert, plays a role in the story, and it's good. Beyond that, like beyond the perverted weird shit that happens, it's good. I like the artwork. I think it is a good story. I pretty much read all of it when I was in Orlando, because I got it like the day that I got into Orlando. That was a Sunday, the first day that I was in Orlando. I hit Barnes and Noble, and I think this is one of the first things that I picked up. I think this is like one of the things that I picked up my first day, and it's a pretty decent story. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's gonna go the Akame ga Kill route, where if you've read Akame ga Kill, you know what happens, and I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody that hasn't read Akame ga Kill. But I'm kind of wondering if it's going to go the Akame ga Kill route. I kind of hope it doesn't, because, like, I mean, you already did that once. Like, what's the point of kind of, doing that again? But, hey, whatever. I mean, I'm not the one writing it. I've enjoyed it so far. I've enjoyed this first volume. I have the second volume on my shelf, so I'm definitely going to be checking this out. And I hope that you check it out as well, because it is a really good story. It's weird. The monsters are weird. One dude, like, becomes like a grass monster, and then when he kills people they become grass as well, and it's just really fucking stupid. But it's entertaining. Like, not everything has to be like super thought-provoking, and not everything's going to be Witches by Daisuke Igarashi, and I'm cool with that. And like, I mean, I talked shit about like isekai and whatnot in my Witches video, but I mean, I do watch that stuff. I do enjoy that stuff. I was just kind of saying that Witches to me is more elevated than that. It's like art. It's like legit art, where like that's like highbrow art, and this is kind of like lowbrow, medium to lowbrow art, but it's still good, and I highly recommend it if you just want to read something irreverent and not, take it super seriously. All right, for the last one today, we are going to be talking about Dead Demons Destruction, and I love this story. I've only read this first volume so far, but god damn it, I've only read this first volume so far, but god damn it, I love this series. I love this story. I did a bunch of videos about Inyo Asano's other work, Goodnight Poon Poon, and I did like 4 videos about Goodnight Poon Poon, covering volumes 1 through 7, and I loved Goodnight Poon Poon. It broke every inch of my goddamn heart, but I loved Goodnight Poon Poon, and I think Inyo Asano is a phenomenal writer. I have Girl on the Shore on the shelf behind me. I'm going to be cracking that open at some point in time. I also have Nijigahara Hologram. You can see it. It's right there. I also have that, and I decided, I didn't want to put this off anymore. I wanted to finally read it, and I love it. I love that it's kind of like an alien invasion in like the millennial Gen Z kind of generation, or like more so Gen Z. I want to say it's more so Gen Z than millennial. Like, I feel like these characters are definitely more Gen Z because they're growing up with cell phones, whereas like millennials like myself didn't get cell phones until we were like in our teens and maybe a little older. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was already like 17, and it was like an old ass. I mean, it was new at the time, but it was a Singular Wireless. That company doesn't even exist anymore. It was a Singular Wireless phone, no, just basic ass flip phone, and you get made fun of nowadays for having a flip phone, but back then, you know, you had a flip phone. That was cool because you even had a fucking phone. I mean, it might not have even been cool because it was a basic phone. It was a piece of shit. It was, man. My screen at one point turned completely black, so I'd had my numbers memorized, so I kind of knew where the numbers were. So like I just scroll down until like I got to the person I wanted to call. Like I remember like, all right, so this friend is 7 clicks down, so I'd be like 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then I hit the call button and then it would call them. But yeah, it was a garbage little phone, but like yeah, it was a Singular wireless phone, and that company like is DOA. It got consumed by like AT&T, I think. I think it was AT&T that consumed Singular Wireless. And so, like, that was me, you know, my generation, the millennial generation. And this is definitely more like the Gen Z generation where, like, they're growing up in the moment with cell phones and, you know, they're all, like, really young and they're in the middle of, like, an alien invasion and they're tweeting about it, they're Instagramming about it, they're posting YouTube videos about the invasion, and it's so good. It's so on point. And I think the teacher in the series is like my age or maybe a little bit younger than me. I think he's in his 20s. And I love the girls. I think the girls are fucking great. Like, she's one of my favorite characters. Her and her friend, whose name I can't remember. I'll post pictures of the friend. Or actually, maybe I'll just show you. Like, there's the friend. Like, that girl right there is an absolute character. I feel like we've all grown up with someone like her, and I like that, you know, it's just human. It goes beyond being Japanese or being American or really being Western or Eastern or whatever, that we all just have one friend that's just an absolute fucking weirdo. We've all had that friend that's just a character, you know what I mean, like that's just so out there. And for me, it was also a girl that was just like so out there, and she was just so much fun, and she was always she was just like the weird one, you know. And I like that this story has that, and this character and this girl right here that we follow is kind of like the straight man. She's kind of like the straight man, but she's so much fun. Like, they're both so much fun, and their friend group is great. And I love all the girls. I love all the girls in their friend group. And see right here, there she is again. There's that girl. I can't remember her name, but she's such a character, and I love her so much. I love their energy. And this is kind of like the friend group right here. Those girls, they're kind of like the friend group. And I like her a lot right there with the Wednesday Addams hair. You know, she like has this weird thing for BL, and if you don't know what BL is, it's boys love, which is a specific kind of manga, anime. Also like what doujinshis. So yeah, the story is really good. Pretty much middle of an alien invasion. It happens in Japan. The characters are all just really funny, really goofy. It kind of reminds me of Ghost World. If you've read Ghost World or if you've seen the film, I think that you will enjoy this because it has that same irreverent energy where, like, I feel like if Ghost World had taken place in Japan, it would be this kind of irreverence. Or like if there were, you know, an alien invasion in Ghost World, I think the two girls in Ghost World, played by Thora Birch and by Scarlett Johansson, I think they would have more or less the same reaction where they would be like, "Oh great, the world's gonna end," and that would be it. That would be their whole fucking reaction, just like, "Oh, okay, whatever." You know what I mean? That's what I think of when I think. That's what I thought of when I was reading Dededede Demons. And that honestly, just that thought made me love it so much more. So yeah, please check it out because this is a great story, and it's also by Inio Asano, who is a phenomenal writer. So I'm sure sooner or later, this is gonna get really fucking heartbreaking. I would not be surprised like one bit if this at some point just turns really fucking dark. So yeah, those are my choices, man. Those are my books. These are the selections right here. Call of the Night, Smokin Parade, Dededede Demons, Dededede Destruction, Blue Lock, and Slasher Maidens. I don't know when I'm going to do another one of these videos, but if you haven't read any of these, I hope that you will check them out. I definitely really do recommend all 5 of them, and I like to do things in 5s because I don't know that everybody's going to want to read every single thing that I talk about, but maybe at least you'll want to check out at least maybe one of them. So that does inspire hope within me, and I hope that you have enjoyed hanging out with me. My name is Oscar. Please take care of yourselves. I'm sorry this video got super long. Until next time we meet, Have a good day, have a good night, whatever you are up to. I hope that you are doing well.